Live once again. I'm Adam Osland. After we had a post-game show last night on AM 570 LA Sports, and right here on the YouTube live section, Clippers getting a 26-point victory, where once again they hold an opponent under 100 points in Philadelphia. They took down the 76ers 125-99. No PG, no Joel Embiid, no problem for the Clippers in that game. But they're starting to get a little bit more pub because people know this Clippers team and this defense specifically is for real. Clippers, though, taking on the Boston Celtics today in Boston, and I have a special guest. You may know him as JMI 1324. You may know him as JD 13. It's Jadoffer joining me here. He's a fan of the show to give me a little bit of a preview of what's coming tonight. Clippers in Boston taking on his Celtics. I told you we'd have you on once they were taking on the Boston Celtics. Asking you shall receive, JD. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Everything's good on my end. Everything's good on Boston's end. The defending
Yeah.
champs, of course. And this is a team that we just found out is getting back Kristaps Porzingis tonight. Hasn't
Unicorns
played
back.
since – when was the last game he played in? Game 4? What was the last game he played? Game 3? Game 2?
Now he played game 5. It was like small minutes. He played game 5 of the finals.
They still were able to win it all basically without him being at his best. He had
Yeah.
it's a foot surgery, a tendon in his left ankle that was attended to. That's when he ended up having surgery on. And I'm still trying to see, chat, if you can see this. Let me know if you can see in here because we've been having some problems on the restream. I'm doing a chat test right now. Hit us up if you're able to type it in. I don't want to have to go to the YouTube side to be able to see what you guys are saying here. So hopefully it's working. But all right, back to JD, back to the breaking news. This came out about 20 minutes ago. Shams Charania, no longer of The Athletic, now with ESPN, broke it. But Kristaps
He actually
Porzingis,
wasn't the first person to report it. Actually,
who had it?
it was his name is like Cameron something. Cameron T. He's a reporter out here. And Noah Dazelle, they were talking about yesterday on a podcast that his return was imminent. And then I think Cameron had a source from I think Porzingis' friend or something that his return he was gonna either return today or he was gonna return I think Friday against the Bulls.
Okay.
So he was
So
the first
just the
person.
Clippers' luck that he comes back today, of course. And he'll
I've
be
been
fresh.
hearing that.
Hey, I know Boston had to play Minnesota yesterday, and it was a 2-point game, and the starters had to play heavy minutes, but he'll be fresh. He should be ready to go.
What's
J-
that rumor about that all
about
stars come back against you guys?
all stars coming. Well, every fan base feels like it. Like, of course, this happens to us. This is Clippers luck. This is classic Clippers luck that they got to deal with Kristaps Porzingis. Now, we do expect him to be on a minutes restriction, right? I expect him
I
to
like
start.
20 minutes, nothing crazy.
Okay, so you think he'll be in the starting lineup, but in a minutes restriction still?
Because Horford and Cornette, they're doubtful. So I mean, we've been low managing Horford, so I assume he's not gonna play. Cornette got a hamstring injury. So I think it's gonna be Tillman, Kada, and Porzingis as our bigs for tonight.
Okay. So
I
it's
think,
almost a position of need getting him back right now because Horford's
yeah,
probably not playing.
yeah, for sure. I was actually kind of a little nervous about the game until today. I woke up just because um having Kada out there and Horford not playing, and then Tillman, Kada and Tillman are slow footed. Even though Zubac is slow footed, but he's not really slow footed in a sense. Um, I was scared that Zubac was gonna have a field day.
Well, I was checking, doing my research on the Boston Celtics for this preview, and the one area they struggle in is teams are able to score in the paint a little bit. Boston's
That's
given
a
up
fact.
53 points in the paint. That's 27th in the league right now. They were
Yeah,
ninth in that. They were ninth in that area last season, JD. They were much better in points in the paint last season. Is that the Kristaps Porzingis effect, not having him so far?
I mean, you see what he did in the finals. Like you see what he did game one. Like what he did coming off the bench. That was unseen. I'm like, dude ripped off like 14 straight points. Like it was insane what he did in the first game. His his level of gravity that he has in terms of being a stretch big, being a great rebounder, being a great shot blocker, him alone is going to help us. Him being on the court, but to have him play 20 minutes, to soak up some minutes, to take minutes from Tillman and Kada, who struggle defensively, struggle rebounding, struggle finishing around the rim, it's going to help us. And also, it's going to have to make Zubas go to the perimeter because Kristaps is an elite three-point shooter. He doesn't have to worry about that a lot this year, but he's going to have to worry about that tonight. Just Kristaps Porzingis' presence alone.
This is the first thing I thought about when talking about the Boston Celtics is, can they get Ivica Zubac away from the paint by having 5 3-pointers out there? Because this is obviously where you guys thrive. It's a perfectly built team in the modern NBA now. The Boston Celtics are the champs for a reason. This is no fluke. This is no, okay, they ran into a team that was injured or the right matchup. They have been this good for a long time. If they were a little more seasoned, I think they would have taken down the Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago. That was a series I think it was winnable for them. So you think Kristaps Porzingis starts and he's going to be pulling Ivica Zubac away from the basket, which is going to have a big effect on this game?
I don't necessarily think it's going to have a big effect, but it's just going to allow Tatum and Brown to play more in space in a sense. Like the court's going to be more open up for them to have driving lanes to the paint. And I think that's one thing that Tatum has thrived on this year is getting to the paint more. He's shooting around, I think, like 67% of getting the painted area. I don't know how much he is at the rim, but I know he's shooting about 67% in the paint. So he's going up strong, finishing with 2 feet. And I know that's been like a gripe with like a lot of fans, him not finishing off, both feet a lot. He's been doing that a lot more often. And I know Jaylen Brown's efficiency in all areas has dipped to start this year, but I think him and Jaylen Brown and Porzingis, they have like a unique bond with each other in the sense, if you've seen, like they're great friends, so they know each other. So I think him sliding back into that 5 spot is going to help Jaylen Brown the most out of everybody in the starting lineup.
It's JMI 1324. If you didn't know, a listener now becoming a co-host for today's preview with the Clippers taking on the Boston Celtics. He's a sophomore at UMass. He is in Boston. He is a huge fan, if you can't tell by the posters on the board here. I also see a Kobe Bryant poster, to your right here.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm going to make y'all mad with this.
Uh-oh.
I got a Paul George poster in my room, too.
Now I know. Okay, I see it now. With the little
Don't tell me the sky's the
signature.
limit with his footprint on the moon. That phrase is on the poster right here.
Ooh, you are a bit of a Paul George apologist, which is going to rub Clippers fans the wrong way right now. You've been a fan of him for a long time, though. And I understand why. I mean, we all have been. It's just a bad time to be a Paul George fan, I guess.
I've been a fan of him since, like, the last time he went up against Bron in the playoffs. I think it was that 2016-17 year when they got swept. I've been a fan of him since. But a lot of people don't know this. J.R. Smith was my favorite player growing up until PG became mine. Okay. A lot of people don't know that.
J.R. Smith, I mean, that's an interesting favorite player. Instant offense.
I became a fan of his like 2014, like 15, because like he would have these random games where he'd just rip off like 6 threes in a row. And like I used to think he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry in a sense, but I'm like, no. Steph Curry's just a different animal. We don't touch that.
J.R. Smith, yeah, he probably thought he was Steph Curry, I'm sure at times. He had that green light. People don't remember him as much in Denver nowadays.
Athletic.
They think of him. Yeah. Like he had some of the craziest dunks. Or in the slam dunk contest, was that New Orleans Hornets at that time when he was in the slam dunk contest? I'm trying to think.
I think it was New Orleans. Yeah, it was New Orleans before he went to Denver.
When he went behind his back and then threw it down. Like, yeah. He had some crazy, crazy hops. All right. Paul George, though, I guess I should ask you about this. Do you have any argument against Clipper Nation right now with some of the comments he has made where everybody feels like he's put his foot in his mouth once again, and his team's 3-13? His team's 3-13. And I know he hasn't been playing, Embiid hasn't been playing, but a lot of people are looking at that photo of him on the sidelines yesterday
He
and being like,
yawned. I'm like, what? I see the video. I'm like, he yawned. And I see Clint Parks reposted it. And I'm like, oh, God.
Clint Parks, of course, somebody who trains with Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi, yeah. He's dope,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Dope
he's
in the college space. I mean, he helped make Kawhi the beast he is today.
The grind is real.
Architect.
He knows about it. What's going on with Paul George and the Philadelphia 76ers after that beatdown the Clippers put on him yesterday? I don't know. I said before, like a week and a half ago, I was still of the mindset that they're going to be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, 3-13. I've seen some people give them a 4% chance to make the playoffs.
I seen that stat.
That's crazy to me. Like but 3-13, we are over 20% of the way into the season right now. So it is plausible that I think they're still a play-in team because the East is bad enough that they can get in and be the 9th or the 10th seed and work their way maybe into getting into a playoff series. But I've never seen a team with this high of expectations come out of the gates this slow in a long time.
I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't think they're making a play-in either. I think the season's cooked as of right now. The only way it would ever change, though, is if you expect when Joel Embiid and PG were to come back from their respective injuries, they return to not only all-star form, they return to all-NBA MVP caliber in Joel Embiid's case. I think their roster is very flawed, especially outside of the big four, if you want to put McCain in there, because he's been balling too, Rookie of the Year favorite.
Till the Clippers clamped his ass again.
Y'all be doing that to everything. Like, I know, like, a lot of fans have feared, like, the quick guards or the guards that, like, move out the screens and stuff like that are very quick. But you guys have had problems with that. I mean, y'all locked up De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain. Who else y'all lock up?
What made you get in with the Clippers crowd a little bit? Was it Paul George initially being a Clipper that had your interest?
Yeah, it was Kawhi and PG. Like, when they first teamed up together, I was like, wow. I woke up one day. It was like a Sunday. It was on TV. I said, Paul George got traded to the Clippers. I'm like, what? Are you talking about MVP 13 got traded? I seen it on the ticker. It was like Sports Center. I'm like, wow.
See, because it happened around 10 o'clock at night here on the west side, Pacific time. So you must have been. So it's 1 o'clock over there. So you were already in bed by the time that happened in 2019.
Yeah, I was 14 at the time. Like, I had woke up the next morning. I had seen Adrian Wojnarowski reports Paul George to the Clippers in like a huge haul or something, including Shai Gilgeous and Danilo Gallinari. I'm like, what? You get to pair a Finals MVP with a DPOY finalist and an MVP finalist together? There's no way they don't win a championship,
or not,
especially the first year. Not even get to the finals. There's no way that it doesn't happen. And then to see the last, see the 5 years how it played out with like injuries and like roster and like drama and all that, it was disappointing. I would say it was just disappointing to see both of them not get a championship, because I think both of them wanted to be there, and one is still there and one is gone. Both of them being Cali guys, it was just disappointing, I would say, especially on PG's part. He was, outside of that one playoff run in 2021, he was just, I couldn't even say abysmal. It's just, you can't find a word to describe how bad he was. It was terrible.
You don't hear him talking about that on podcast, P. How poorly he just played against the Dallas Mavericks in that first round series.
You just don't hear it, and it's like, I feel like he's blaming everybody else, but not, holding himself accountable. Because, like, I said this one time, he has a Hall of Fame attitude. No, he has a Hall of Fame attitude, but like a bitter, like, role player mindset. Like, he feels that everybody owes him. And he feels like he's above criticism, when it's like, Bro, I just seen you score 7 points in a playoff game. What am I supposed to do with that?
And nobody's talking about it. Like, national media did not pick up on just how bad I think
It's
he was.
crazy how nobody brought it up. I mean, he barely touched 19 points a game in the playoffs. Like, it's actually 19.5 without Kawhi.
It happens when you only shoot 40% from the field and only attempt 15.8 shots per game or whatever it was. That's, to me, the biggest issue. He wasn't even aggressive out there. He wasn't going for it. If you're the number one option in a playoff series like that, because that was a winnable series. Like, we all think if Kawhi's available and Paul George was the guy that was out, they win that series against Dallas.
Oh, y'all win in 5. Like, y'all win in 5 games. Like, that's Kawhi. And then the crazy comparison is like, well, who would you rather pay, Kawhi and PG? I'd rather take the gamble on Kawhi than pay PG 212. I think the misplaced anger I had, in a sense, was people. I was speaking from PG's mindset one time, right? So in his head, he believes he should be getting paid more or the same amount as Kawhi winning. In reality, he shouldn't. But a lot of people got it twisted up when I was saying that, he should be able to ask for the max, right? He should be able to. That's what negotiations are about.
Sure.
But he didn't play max money worthy in the playoffs, so a lot of people got that twisted up into saying that, he can't ask for it. I'm like, yes, he can ask for that. It's whether the Clippers give it to him or not, and they didn't. And you guys are 11-7 right now. Y'all are a top 5 seed. I mean, y'all doing better without him right now, especially at this juncture than it was last year.
See, you know how to ingratiate yourself to the Clippers fan base. This is a Boston Celtics fan who gets it, who is level-headed, who isn't overly cocky just because he's rooting for the defending champs and has an affinity for the Clippers. He's always got an eye on the Clippers.
I mean, I've seen it with Kyrie. Like, a lot of Boston Celtics fans, they hate Kyrie or whatever. I'll let that go. I let it go because we got Kemba Walker, and then we went to the conference finals right after. Like, that's just what it is with basketball and like contracts, whatever. And I thank him for giving us a championship, by the way. I thank Kyrie Irving for that. He helped us out a lot as an opponent, though. I thank him for that.
I appreciate you doing this. Let's keep it going here. People are talking about you. Bastian Schweinsteiger said, never seen anyone in more comment sections on Twitter than JMI 13. It's JMI or JM1 1324. What is it?
Because that's like my real initials. That's like my first, middle, and last name initials.
Okay, so this isn't 1324 for the numbers that Paul George has worn in his career?
No, 13 was for PG. 24 was for Kobe.
Okay, and he's worn 24. Okay, so he's got the Paul George poster on his wall, but he's also not afraid to criticize Paul George when it's appropriate. Like,
no, people act like I don't. It's just funny. They called me like an apologist, or like Dimes called me one time. He called me his lawyer.
A dime dropper said that?
Yes, he called me his lawyer. I'm like, well, I told her, I said, time out. I am not nobody's lawyer. I don't get paid to be a lawyer. No, I have my study to be one.
You have a very I think realistic view of the NBA in general.
Yeah.
Very measured approach, and you take the emotions out of it, which is why I've always liked your comments. And you've been a fan of mine for a while, so I appreciate you coming in here, dropping knowledge on the Boston Celtics with the Clippers taking them on today in Boston, and also reflecting a little bit on the situation with Paul George because the Clippers just beat down Philadelphia yesterday by 26 points.
Said I should aim higher. I mean, I am. I have an MJ and Kobe poster, so I am aiming higher, if you're going to say that.
Bastian Schweinsteiger's having some fun here. Yeah, drop some more comments in the comment section. Let's try to move past Paul George if we can, because I don't think they're going to be seeing the Philadelphia 76ers again this season. They both have to make the finals for that to happen. And while I think the Clippers have a chance, and I do want to comment, though, you made an interesting point, and this is something I argue about with Fred Rogan on AM 570 all the time. He said this summer the Clippers made the wrong decision in keeping Kawhi over Paul George. And my point to him always was, if you had kept Paul George, maybe he's a little bit healthier, even though he's hurt right now. But
he's only played 30 more games more than him.
Right. It's 30, 40 more games. That's the difference between their Clippers tenures. And Kawhi missed an entire season with being out for the ACL, and Paul George only played about 40 more games than him. The point that I always make is the difference in games played isn't as great as the difference in how they play when they're available. Kawhi Leonard is so much better when he's available that you feel like you can beat anyone in a 7-game series. Even if Paul George is healthy and you don't have Kawhi, it doesn't matter. His ceiling isn't winning a championship like Kawhi's is. So why would you not, as you said, take the gamble on Kawhi and his health over a guy in Paul George who, even if he is healthy, he can't lead you to the promised land.
And it's also like you don't know what he's going to be. Like, I've watched Paul George since 2016, 17. I know what he's going to be. He's going to have this 3-week stretch where he's like Kevin Durant. Then he's going to have this month-plus stretch where we're asking, like, a lot of people asking, a lot of Clipper fans asking, is he better than Norman Powell? And that's like the running joke right now. It's kind of funny, though.
I don't think it's a joke. I said this. I said,
if he plays well, it's consistent.
We're going to have a dialogue by the end of this season if things don't change. If Jared McCain is outscoring Paul George in Philadelphia, like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's the running joke right now. I still don't believe Norm is better, but maybe in this role that he's playing at, and if he's consistent, I could see it. It's very realistic.
Because he looks for a shot more. Like him as being the second option guy right now without Kawhi Leonard, he is more aggressive and looking for his shot. You don't have to worry about which Norman Powell is showing up. He's probably putting up 17, 18 shots per game. He's going to get them up.
He's been a gunner his whole career, especially after Clipper. Like, he's had to be thrust into like starting roles. Like, his roles have been like up and down because like with injuries. But now he knows as a starter, and he's a confirmed starter even with Kawhi in the lineup. I got to get up 17 to 18 shots a game. But obviously his shot attempts is going to go down with Kawhi back in the lineup. But I hope that Kawhi was getting Norm's ear, tell him, like, bro, do not defer to me. Let me get right, and then come playoff time, defer to me. But right now, during the regular season, I need you, Harden, Zoo, and the team to do the heavy lifting. So I could see it.
Well, I think the fit is just better because skill set wise, he's not as skilled as Paul George. He can't create for himself. He's not the defender. He's not any of those things. But he's giving a really good defensive effort. And if you're playing off of, if Kawhi comes back and you're playing off of him and James Harden, that's perfect for Norman Powell because he's a catch and shoot guy. He's a get it and go guy, a quick decision maker guy. He's not trying to get into his bag like Paul George. He's perfect as a third option type of player next to those two. I just think the fit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Especially, I think this year he improved his off the dribble game a lot.
Oh, Paul George calling the cops on this comment section. Paul George is upset. He doesn't like what he's hearing about Norman Powell.
Yeah, Norman Powell hasn't improved his off the dribble game. I know there was this joke. Somebody said he's the worst player in the NBA after he takes 3 or more dribbles. I'm like, you can't say that now.
No.
You can't say that.
No, he's been setting others up more. He's improved in every way he's needed to this summer for this opportunity. Yes. Like, he has been ready for this. I'm still wondering, it's possible Norman Powell plays in this game against Boston tonight. Like, he hasn't been ruled out yet. I haven't seen any. What's
the injury report at? Like, aren't they supposed to have Ben reported it?
Let me make sure I'm checking Law Murray right now, just in case something has come out about Norman Powell at shoot around or whatever today. No, he hasn't put anything up yet. So I think it's possible that he's able to go, and that would be big for the Clippers, obviously. But okay, this Clippers team,
Mhm.
you've talked about how real their defense is. Like,
Yeah.
do you think this is the biggest test they have had going up against Boston today, a team that can play 5 out all the time, that this Clippers Clamp City defense is prepared for a test like this?
Um, who y'all play? Y'all play Golden State twice. Y'all locked them down.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all play Sacramento. They are offensively.
They beat Denver.
Y'all play. Yeah, y'all beat Denver, but they wasn't what they was now.
That's true.
So I can't really count that.
That's
Y'all
true.
beat Oklahoma City. I would say this is your second test. I think Oklahoma City, because that was a little trap game. Because I
Oh, they
think
lost to
wasn't they one
OKC.
at home?
They lost both
Yeah,
games
that
to
was.
OKC.
Yeah, and the second time y'all played them in Oklahoma City, they went small ball, and Jalen Williams and Shea were playing the five. I think this is y'all second test, though. I think it's the biggest test, but it's the second test, if that makes sense.
That's a great comparison because, yeah, they didn't have Hartenstein back then, and they had just lost Chet Holmgren.
Home.
And the Clippers, I think they ended up giving up 125, 130 points in that game in
Yeah, that
OKC.
was disappointing.
It was, but it's OKC. Like, I'm not
They doing that
surprised
to
by it.
everybody.
Yeah. To me, when I look at this Boston Celtics team, to me, it comes down to one thing. Are they hitting threes that night? Because you're taking 50 per game. What are they at? How are they taking almost 8 more threes per game this season? They went from 42 and a half threes taken to 50.5 threes attempted now this year. That's crazy to me,
I
JD.
think
That's insane.
it is. I think coming into the season, we knew Porzingis was gonna be out to start the year. So it's like, how are we gonna replace his offense, his 20 points a game that he was giving? So take more threes, and we're making them at a high clip. I don't know. Are we like we're like first in 3 pointers made? I don't know what we are in like percentage wise, but
You guys are down a little bit percentage wise.
yeah,
I
from
will say
last year.
that. They're down from 38.8% last season to 37.1% from three so far this season.
And
So
Tatum is taking more.
Tatum is taking more. He and Jalen Brown, both those guys, their scoring is up right now. So
And
Tatum is
it's
scoring 2 more points per game. He went from 26.9 to 28.9 this year. Jalen Brown scoring almost 3 more points per game. He went from 23 points last season to almost 26. The efficiency is down a little bit, but I like
no, it's
what you
down a
said there.
lot for Jalen Brown. It's down a lot.
But without Kristaps Porzingis, you needed those guys to up the volume, and they have.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about this team. I feel like with a more aggressive Tatum, a more aggressive Jalen Brown, it's gonna empower us to be much better than we were last year. I don't think, in a sense, how I would put this. We're a better shooting team than we were last year, but only in makes. But percentage, we knew it was going to go down, and especially like both offense and defense has the ratings have gone down.
Yeah.
But especially with defense, that's what I'm a little concerned about. Obviously, with Horford being a year older, Porzingis coming off the injury, you're asking Tatum and Brown to do a little bit more defensively, having them to guard 1 through 5, which they both are highly capable of doing, because we seen Tatum do that in the finals and throughout the playoffs last year. We seen lineups where he would have to play the 5 and he will be able to hold his own, because I mean he's 6'8" with like a 7 foot wingspan. Um, it's early though, so I hope nothing happens in regards to like the defense continuously slipping as the year goes on. I think it's going to get better. But having to play Tatum at the 5 and having him guard fives is not sustainable, in my opinion.
Well, you mentioned the defense slipping. They're 10th defensively right now. That's down from being second last season. They're
Yeah.
third offensively right now. That's down from being first last season. So not having Porzingis takes its toll. And I wonder, Peyton Pritchard's scoring is up. He's getting more minutes. That probably hurts you though defensively. While he's scoring 15 points per game, Pritchard, and that's impressive. That probably does something to you defensively too.
Yeah, because he's a small guard, and so we have like a lot of more bigger guards out in the East with like Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, you got Maxey who bulked up throughout the summer, and we obviously have like McCain, Brunson, and those guys. He's gonna have to chase around like a lot of these fast guards, and they're strong. So from that point guard position, if Derek White or Drew Holiday are not on the court, teams are gonna attack him defensively, and he's gonna struggle to hold his own because I mean he's 6 foot, he's my height, so I mean he's gonna struggle. But I mean he got hearts, and we love that in Boston. So
Hey, you're still young enough. You might get to 6'1", 6'2" here. Bastian Schweinsteiger
nah, I've
said
been to Steve House since I was 14, so that's not happening. That's not
uh,
happening.
Bastian's really talking some S here. He says, can't wait to see the one-handed fraud Jaylen Brown get pocketed tonight by Amir Coffee and company. Yeah, the fraud who's the finals MVP, the reigning finals MVP. Is his handle improved at all, though? I know this is an
Yes.
oversimplification. Like, people love to go after Jaylen Brown for that, but I think he's answered. He's beat all the allegations at this point.
Yeah, I mean he has improved his handle. I think people try to use that as a crutch to cope with the fact that Tatum wasn't MVP and that Jaylen Brown was, but I'm like, Jaylen Brown deserved that. We don't win that series if he's not guarding Luka Doncic. We don't win it. And so they try to use any little thing to try to say, oh, he's the worst finals MVP ever, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, y'all wasn't saying that, but what Iggy though? Y'all wasn't saying that, even though y'all said he was finals MVP and whatever. Dude averaged, I think, like 15 points that series. Jaylen Brown was put up a two-way masterpiece in the finals, even though his efficiency was terrible. I mean, you need that from him. If he's not guarding Luka Doncic the way he is, he's gonna do what he does to the Clippers every time he plays you guys. In all seriousness, I'm not even trying to be funny. I mean, every time he sees the Clippers, I mean, he gets busy.
It's true. He and Tatum have had some really big games, and they've gone back and forth when it comes to win losses. These two teams, they've pretty much alternated wins and losses the last couple of years. And then one year the Clippers swept them. The year before that, Boston swept them. Bastian's just trying to hate. He doesn't understand there's another side to the basketball. Defense in the NBA Finals and shutting down Luka Doncic and making him into a volume guy. I mean, I felt like the analytics already put them at such a disadvantage against you guys where they just didn't take enough three-pointers to begin with, the Dallas Mavericks in that series where they were in trouble. But, yeah, you got to take into account how good Jaylen Brown was defensively in that series. Bastian's saying real ones know Drew Holiday is the People's Finals MVP.
He was actually, to that point, through the first two games, I was saying Drew Holiday was the Finals MVP. The first two games, he was sensational on both ends of the court. But it's when he had that rough game 4, where he struggled badly. I was like, you can't give it to him. He's out the race. Porzingis, he's out the race. So now it was Derek White, Tatum, and Brown. And what separated Brown was that game 3. When we went up 20, Dallas comes back and cuts it to 4. Jaylen Brown scores, I think, like 6 or 7 points to close out the game. I think that's what separated everything. But a lot of people say Tatum deserved that because he led us in points, rebounds, and assists. I could see that. But he wasn't defending like what Jaylen Brown was.
Bastian, you just got bodied. JMI 1324. JD here just laid it out plainly for you. He had him the first two games as Finals MVP, and then he fell off. He had a bad game.
It's really that simple. Like, if you really watched it, Drew Holiday was the best player for us through the first 2 games. Then it was, okay, now the tides are starting to turn. Now it's Tatum or Brown. Brown locked up the Finals MVP after game 3 for me. I don't think he locked it up after game 5. It was game 3 he locked the Finals MVP. That two-way performance he had. And then Luka, they talk about Luka. If Luka was in that game, they win that game. Like, no, they don't. I mean, he had 5 fouls, and who he fouled? I think he fouled like Brown or something. And he fouled out that game.
All I know is Jaylen Brown goes for 30 tonight, and Bastian Schweinsteiger won't be showing up for the post game here on Clippers Talk. I know how this thing goes. We do have an update. Norman Powell and Mo Bamba out for the Clippers tonight. I saw the tweet from Joey Lynn. So they're basically saying we're probably not using Mo Bamba anyways, and he just came back from the knee injury. as the second night of a back-to-back. So it's up a team. It's against a team that's going to be playing small. Coach Lou likes to play small ball. The real question is how much is Ivica Zubac going to play if he struggles early on? Like they have to play through him and punish Boston some, or else Coach Lou will pull the ripcord and say, all right, we're getting him off the floor. Batum's going to play the 5. Maybe Kobe Brown gets a look. Like they will go small against Boston tonight if Ivica Zubac is not being effective out there.
And Porzingis is gonna punish him. I mean, he was elite in the post last year. He gonna punish them if they go small. He gonna punish them.
I worry about that. I think the only way the Clippers, you're not going to beat Boston at their own game. You're not going to beat them playing small and trying to stretch them out on the floor. Like you may get away with it for a few minutes here and there, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I like that thinking, but I think Big Zoo is going to have to play 25 plus minutes in this game for the Clippers to be able to hang with Boston.
Not even 25. He gonna have to play 30 plus. If I'm being honest.
30 plus?
30
okay.
plus. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the reason why I say that is because you got to get him to early touches early. And also, you're going to have to make Porzingis test that ankle. You got to have to make him test it early and see if he's moving laterally. If you get the Porzingis that was moving the way he was moving in the last full game, which was game 1, if you get that Porzingis, I think Zoo's going to struggle.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Bit.
People don't realize how good Porzingis was in Washington that year he was tucked away before you guys got him. Like he had a career year, and he's still relatively young.
And we got 2 first-round picks in the trade. That's the crazy part.
And that was a trade that was supposed to happen with the Clippers, by the way, in a 3-way that would have gotten the Clippers. They would have had to give up Amir Coffey, though. They would have had to give up Amir Coffey in that trade, who's been awesome this season so far, and he'll be in the starting lineup again. Jeremy Mormon wants to know, JD, if you guys will take PJ Tucker off our hands.
Yeah, he's wanted in Boston. He's not coming here no more.
I think he's wanted in the NBA or not wanted right now because the Clippers haven't been able to move him yet. Is $11 million not wanted?
Who we gonna trade? I mean, Sam Hauser better than him. Pritchard's better than him.
It's a joke.
Who we gonna trade him?
It's not happening. Yes, Porzingis is back tonight against the Clippers. Jonathan Ing said, how quick and aggressive are the traps and doubles from the Celtics? Just curious based off the OKC Houston games when Zoo was sped up from the quick aggressive doubles and that caused him to be bad there. What have you seen from Boston in that area?
Tatum's averaging a career high 6+ assists this year, but it also comes with the turnovers. I kind of use this example with 2021 Paul George when Chauncey Billups made him the point guard at times. And so you got to live with the turnovers because he was at the time averaging 5.2 assists. This year, Tatum's averaging 6 assists. He's kind of the de facto point guard.
Yeah, but what about defensively? How much are you guys doubling and trapping and blitzing guys?
We're trapping, and I think we switch. I don't think we're really trapping guys, to be honest. I mean, if we was going to do that, we would have did that yesterday because Ant got hot in the fourth quarter. We would have did that, but we don't really double because we could switch all 5 positions. I think that's what the beauty of our team. We could switch and we could hold our own in each matchup we have. If you put Tatum on the elite guard, he could hold his own. If you put Brown on a big, he could hold his own defensively. Like, we're the most switchable team in the league, especially with our starting 5.
You know what irks me, what annoys me about Boston, even though I have a ton of respect for them, it's just pettiness on my part. The Clippers were doing all this stuff in 2021. They had the blueprint. Kawhi gets hurt. Yeah. Otherwise, they're the team known for doing all this massive switching and wings. And Boston took that and ended up winning a championship with the blueprint the Clippers had back then. Damn it.
Yeah, it sucks. I still feel like that year, if Kawhi was healthy, it was going to be you guys in Brooklyn in the finals. And I said I had the Clippers winning in 7 games. A lot of people said the Nets would have smoked them, but I'm like, the Clippers were a deeper team than the Brooklyn. The Brooklyn just had prime Harden, prime Kyrie, and prime KD on the team. But they were a great team, don't get me wrong. But I still feel like the Clippers would have beat them in that series.
The Kenny GM's asking about Norm. Norm is out today. Norman Powell remains out. Mo Bamba will be out. I think that's more of a coaching adjustment because there aren't going to be
I think it's
backup minutes for him against Boston, anyways.
yeah, I think it's a sense of like low management too. Just and I know he made a joke about Joel Embiid about that. Um, I think also playing Philly last night, having that turnaround, flying to I think taking a bus ride, whatever the case may be, to Boston.
Yeah.
I just think he probably wanted to give him the night off. I
And
don't
he
think it was
probably
anything
wouldn't.
adjustment.
No, he probably wouldn't get minutes anyways. When Zoo is off the court, they are going to play small tonight, most likely. That is something
Yeah.
Coach Lou wants to do. So this Clippers team, as much as Boston has been putting them up 53s attempted per game, and they almost broke the record, they tied it with the
I was
Milwaukee
so mad
Bucks.
about that game. That
How'd
first
you
game.
guys miss 13 straight or whatever it was 3-pointers at the end of
It's
that
the
game?
role players. I don't know. Like there
They
was
felt the
some
pressure, didn't they?
yeah, because that's 30 made threes. That's unheard of in a playoff in a regular season game or a game in general. That's unheard of. And I'm watching the game. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get the record. First one goes off. I'm like, let me get a second one. Goes off, and then we start airballing and hitting the backboard. I was like, yeah, no, we're not getting a record. And we still that last like 33 seconds, we still had an opportunity to make it, and then a lot of the players were wide open. So, and then they choked.
How does Boston? Who gets more minutes? I know Porzingis is back, so maybe this remedies the problem. But if
Mhm.
Al Horford's not playing, and I don't think he will be,
No, he's
is
not playing. Him and Cornette's not playing.
so what adjustments does your head coach make, Joe Mazzulla, who I love, by the way. I think he's incredible. And I
He's
love
good.
I love his candor with the media too. Like he just does not put up with anything.
He's a
But
psycho.
with Kristaps back, with Horford out, what
Mhm.
adjustments do you see them making?
I think we played more Tatum at the five,
Ooh.
especially with Porzingis on the minutes restriction. I think we play more Tatum at the five. Have a lineup. I think we're gonna see. You guys are gonna see this lineup where we're gonna have Pritchard, um, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Brown, and then Tatum. I think we're gonna see more lineups with that. I think we're gonna play a little bit more faster.
Because you
I think,
guys are pretty slow in pace. You're next to the Clippers there.
yeah, I think we're gonna play a lot more faster, especially with Horford. Because one thing I have noticed, what I was kind of worried if Horford did play, because we've seen a lot of guards attack him. What James Harden would do in that pick and roll with him and Zubac at the top, is he gonna actually pass it to what's the thing called? Is he gonna actually pass it off to Zubac, or is he gonna attack Horford and see and just nuke that and just get a switch?
Yeah. I like what you're saying with Tatum playing the five because I think that could help the Clippers. Like, I don't hate this matchup tonight, given that even though Porzingis is back, he'll be on a minutes restriction. Without Horford, if the Clippers go small against that Tatum starting at the five lineup for the Boston Celtics with Nico Batum, I don't hate that option for Coach Lou. I think they might have something for you guys tonight, especially because your starters had to play heavier minutes against Minnesota yesterday than the Clippers
Yeah, that was
obviously
light
had
work,
to
y'all.
do.
That was like that wasn't even a game. That was like a track meet at that point. I don't
Nobody
even.
played more than 27 minutes, and that was James Harden. That was a good workout. That basically,
For
yeah, that was a nice practice run the Clippers had against
for real.
Philadelphia, who really played poorly. And I know they were missing a couple of guys, but some people were saying Miles Johnson said, I hate the matchup for Harden, Adam. He got no one to attack. That is the problem. Your point of attack
You can't
defense
attack
is so
nobody.
good, like the Clippers. But I'm hoping that adjustment with Chris Dunn in the starting lineup now, Amir can bring the ball up some too in the starting lineup with Norman Powell out. And then the lineup that they've been running recently, I think we're going to see it tonight where KPJ and Chris Dunn are playing next to James Harden. So you have three different guys that can play make and bring the ball up. That's something Coach Lou has been going to more. I expect to see it tonight against Boston.
I could see that, but also in a sense, I wouldn't do that with Dunn, KPJ, and Harden because Derek White, Drew Holiday, And then who's gonna be guarding on that's one thing I'm interested. Who's gonna start on Harden? Who's gonna start?
Derek White's scoring's up, by the way, too, so far this season. I
Yeah,
It'll probably be Derek White, right? Him or Drew Holiday?
I would like to put Jaylen Brown on him to start, like a bigger wing on him to wear him down.
Okay.
Obviously,
Okay.
he didn't play a lot of minutes, but it still is a back to back, and he's what 34, 35 years old. I would like to see Jaylen Brown start on him and close on him when if the game's a close game. But I think Jaylen Brown starts. I think Jaylen Brown starts on him. I think Derek White takes the most time guarding Harden though.
Yeah, man, you guys got options. I hate this. I feel like the Clippers are playing themselves in some ways. Like they have to go up against a team that has just as many good defenders and switchable defenders and guys who like playing defense. It's going to be a bit
it's
of a
like a
mirror
mirror,
match.
like it's like a mirror, like you're looking at us and we're looking at you guys. The only thing is you guys don't have a stretch big as elite as Porzingis, but you guys have Mo Bamba, who's a stretch big, who's been playing very well since he came back from injury.
Well, he ain't playing tonight. And well, the stretch big for them is going to be Batum playing the five. I expect Batum. I don't think played heavy minutes last night. By the way, I want to
He's
say
gonna have to play a lot today.
yeah, I want to say this was by design. I want to check on this. Did Batum only play 10 minutes last night against Philly? I want to see this because they might have been saving him for this game, knowing that against Boston, yep, he only played 10 minutes last night. Nico Batum, I'm telling you,
Wow.
that was strategic. They knew Boston was coming up next. I guarantee you Batum's going to be playing a lot of minutes at the five tonight.
I could see him play a good 15, 20 minutes, if not more. I could see that.
Yeah, I think he's at least getting 18. I'm going to say
He's still a
18
good
plus
defender,
minutes.
man. He's still a good defender. Oh my
He is,
gosh.
but while they have all these switchable defenders, your switchable defenders also can score with the best of them in Jalen and Jason Tatum, obviously. And Derek White's getting 18 per game right now. I don't think people realize that. Like, he's still getting better. Drew Holiday's Drew Holiday. Like, your guys, you have more two-way players that can lean into more of the offensive end, where the Clippers have guys that are more specialist on defense. Now, Derrick Jones Jr. has had 18 points yesterday and 17 points the game before that. They're going to need that again from him against
Oh yeah,
Boston,
for
which
sure.
is not going to be easy. Chris Dunn has been struggling with his shot. He's 8 for his last 28 from 3 after starting off the season hot. He's going to have to pick it up offensively and probably have 10 plus points, which is not a guarantee from him.
And also the Derrick Jones Jr. part, he was a no-show in the finals last year. He was he,
Yeah.
was- he was non-existent. Like he was borderline unplayable. Like we played him off the court. He was just there at that point.
I'm
I think
hoping
he's gonna. I think he's gonna have a little chip on his shoulder this game too, knowing that what happened last year.
I think that gave him added fuel to the fire this summer to work even harder. He's a
Yeah,
grinder. He's getting the biggest opportunity of his career. He got off the veterans minimum. He's making $10 million a year now. He has lived up to the contract and then some so far as a Clipper. But you're right. That's a great point. Boston locked him up because he was shooting over 40% from three heading into that series against you guys in the playoffs. And then it plummeted. I want to say he shot like 25% or less than that in that series.
it
He was
was his
awful from the
offense was
outside.
non-existent. I mean,
Yeah.
he was borderline unplayable. And I think that played a factor into why they didn't the Dallas Mavericks didn't re-sign him. Which, in hindsight, you should have re-signed him.
Yeah, I think losing him defensively, I don't know where they rank currently as I'm trying to look up what
Dallas.
what did he end up shooting. So yeah, he shot 25% in that finals against you guys. But he was getting 6 points per game. His shooting just fell off a cliff once he met you guys in the finals. And it's because he was getting open shots against OKC, against Minnesota, against the Clippers. They were living with that, and he was making
Yeah,
teams pay. You guys are so damn connected around the perimeter with your perimeter defense. Like, it's just impossible sometimes.
and also with that, with the Derrick Jones Jr. thing, we didn't allow him to get dunks. Like we rarely allowed him to get to the paint and finish because we had Porzingis, and then we had a Horford who was a great switchable defender. Even today, now he's still a great switchable defender. So if you're gonna put Horford on Derrick Jones Jr., how's he gonna get his game off? I mean, he's not really good off the dribble. I mean, he's been a little bit better, but it's just not like James Harden off the dribble or heck, Chris Dunn off the dribble.
I may regret this comment, but I just don't hate this matchup today with you guys having to implement Kristaps Porzingis with not having Al Horford. And seeing Batum only playing 10 minutes yesterday. Your starters, Jason Tatum had to play 38 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't
Drew
know why.
Holiday 37, Derek White 38, Jaylen Brown 36. How did Minnesota hold you guys to 107? You guys shot it above your average from three yesterday. You went 21 for 56. That's 37.5% from three. It's not like you had a bad 3-point shooting game.
It was a stretch where the first 3 minutes Jaylen Brown like made 5 threes in a row. He went 5 for 5 from three, like the first 3 minutes of the first quarter. Like he went crazy. Then from that point on, he shot 2 for 5 from three. And then we had a stretch in the game where we was up 79-60. They closed. The Wolves cut it to 2. We got it back up to 7. Then they cut it to 4. And Edwards is going. And then the whole person that started the run was Rob Dillingham. He goes, I think he has like what, double-digit scoring. Let me see what Rob Dillingham had.
People are saying Gobert shut off the paint for you guys, but the dirty little secret about Boston, and it makes sense, when you take that many threes, well, you guys are the worst team when it comes to points in the paint per game. You're only getting 39 points per game in the paint. You're last in that area because you take so many three-pointers.
Yeah, Rob Dillingham he played 16 minutes. He scored 14 points and he was efficient, 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from three, and he's the person that started the run for them.
People saying I'm going to regret being confident. I have instant regret. I know how good the Boston Celtics are, and I know what worries me is if their defense is on point and they just wreck the Clippers offense, which does struggle. They're 20th offensively. I think they moved up 4 spots, though, after last night's game, putting up 125 against Philly. But if you stop them with great point of attack defenders like you guys have, and you might have the best, you probably do, you slow them down offensively, and you create turnovers for this Clippers team that is averaging 17 turnovers per game, that's what scares me. That's when things could go awry. That's when things can absolutely go sideways for the Clippers. If you guys are getting easy points out in transition because the Clippers are turning the basketball over because you're getting into their airspace, that is what terrifies me about Boston in this game.
But you know what's terrifying about you guys, too, that you may not realize? When you have Dunn starting on – I'm probably gonna see a lot of. We're probably gonna see a lot of minutes where Dunn's gonna be on Tatum because he's very good at guarding big wings.
Yeah,
I think Tatum might get a little frustrated with that, and with him getting frustrated, he's not gonna look to score. And I think that's gonna be a problem that could arise tonight. But I also could see a situation where we're gonna look to go at James Harden. And while James Harden has played better defensively, he's not a known defender.
No.
He's not. He's probably one of the most. I'll say outside of your starting 5, where would you rank him in terms of defensively? 5th?
Oh yeah, and our starting 5. Oh yeah, easily.
So we're gonna attack him. We're gonna see how Harden holds up defensively.
Who'd you rather go up against, James Harden or Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Derrick Jones Jr., and Ivica Zubac? He's obviously 5th.
Yeah, so we're probably going to look to attack James Harden, and we're going to look to get easy post-up opportunities with like Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis early.
This is the guy who's going to have the most regret after this game. Bastian Schweinsteiger cannot stop talking trash.
To go at James Harden.
What do you mean? Good luck trying to go.
He's an MVP candidate, in my opinion, though.
He's a what?
An MVP candidate.
James?
Yes.
I think most people would look at his shooting percentages and say you're crazy, but I don't think they don't understand the impact he has on this team. We had this guy. What happened to Sam Sanatorium, guys? What happened to him? Talking all that trash in here in the chat. I haven't seen him lately talking about James Harden. What happened to that? It's
Oh
interesting.
God.
Now, most people look at his shooting percentages. They go, oh, he's only shooting 37% from the field. He's only shooting 31% from the
He's a
outside.
floor raiser.
But yeah, he's such a floor raiser. He is the system for this team. Like, I don't know if they're averaging 85 points a night if they don't have James Harden out there.
Oh,
What
no.
he does offensively, like, they would get wrecked. I fear him missing a ball game because he's everything for them setting up their offense.
Like how much Harden's averaging like what 21. What was he's averaging? Harden's averaging 21, 9, and 7. If you take that out the starting lineup, if he were to miss a game or two, he's gonna struggle. Like the team's gonna struggle mightily.
Why are people doing this? Why is Clipper Lad in here saying Celtics are garbage? The defending champs are garbage. Like, why are we doing this, guys? Come on. They've lost, what are they, 13-3?
14-3.
Oh,
About to
I'm
be
sorry.
15-3 tonight.
Let the smack talk out.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is what it is. The Celtics have bragging rights. How are you all talking about a championship team that has 18 of them, by the way, that has the most recent championship one? There is very little drop off from this team. The only reason
banners
they're
right here.
oh God,
Y'all see them right there? I should break 2024 on Sharpie.
Yeah, is that updated? You gotta write that in.
That'd be weird.
People are talking about people who are being realistic are saying they're going to attack Zoo and drop as well.
I could see that.
He's been hedging more. He's been hedging more this season. They're letting him do that more, which I have liked. I think that's
because he's comfortable now.
Yeah. And he moves better than people give him credit for on the perimeter and will have to tonight. I have seen him play some of his best perimeter defense so far this season when they get the switch on a beats the Zubats and try to take him to deep water. Like, he has much improved in that area over the last couple of seasons.
He's been holding up his own, too.
Oh, he's awesome. Bastian Schweinsteiger said they're beating up on the worst conference in the NBA history. They're overrated, and tonight they're snatching their chain. You can't talk about the champs who lost nobody off the championship team last season being overrated, guys.
Why do people say that? Like,
it's like they want me to give them a timeout. This is what I got to deal with.
A lot of people have been saying that last year. Like, we played unhealthy teams. Like, we could go through that with every champion in NBA history. Like, why would us? Like, it's weird to me.
Yeah, some people just want to talk.
It's also like a lot of people like hate Boston. I think. Let me get into it like real quick with the Boston thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of, I say, black people don't like Boston just because they try to say like it's a racist town. Like, in a sense, there is a racial history or a racist history here. Well, I'm like, you haven't been like, if you have never been to Boston before, like you don't have the right to speak on a city that you've never been to. Like, I don't have a right to speak on LA because I don't know the culture there. Obviously, you see it with like movies and like music, but I don't got the right to speak on it. A lot of people don't have the right to speak on Boston because they've never been here. They just want to hear what's portrayed through the news and on TV. I'm like, go to Mattapan, go to Dorchester, go to South End, go to North End, go to Fields Corner. Like, these are areas that are like predominantly minority driven. Like, I think that's what it is. I think people have this perception of Boston and it's sticking with us, and it's not really accurate.
I was in Boston for the first time this summer. I came out to visit. My buddy was in a band that was touring, and they went to Boston, and I hung out there for a couple of days. I loved it. I was in South Boston, I think it was. I was near Fenway. Yeah, I was near. Was I near? I think I was near the Garden.
That's where is that at?
It's South Boston, right? I enjoyed the city. I walked around, I didn't have a car with me. It felt clean. People were friendly to me. I don't have a bad word to say about Boston. Now, I'm white.
Boston,
obviously.
I'll say Boston's dirty. I'm not gonna lie, Boston's dirty. It's not New York dirty, but it's dirty.
Well, the areas I went to, I don't know.
You went to like North Station area.
It was clean. It was safe. Yeah. I don't know. I was impressed. I don't have a bad word to say about it.
And like a
So,
lot of like the TD Garden area, they're building it up. Like we now have an AMC right by TD Garden. Like we never had that. We now have a star. It's like a. Do you know what Star Market is?
mm-mm.
It's a grocery store out on the East Coast. Like we now have that right at TD. Literally, you go up the escalator. It's literally right here, and then TD Gardens on the escalator. We now have that. We now have an AMC, the movie theater that like we go to. So like Boston, we're improving, even though like there's like issues with like rent and like infrastructure, like the streets and all that. Like we're getting better as a city. People don't realize that because they're either ignorant to the truth or like they don't really care.
People just want to troll.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
it's
People just
weird.
want to talk crap and troll and act like the Boston Celtics. I mean, everybody who wins the championship, I feel like over the last 5 years gets diminished somehow. Every championship has been diminished somehow over the last 5 years or so. That's the new in thing to do.
For some reason, it's just like with us and the Lakers. Like obviously the Lakers being in a bubble, but like with Boston, obviously like I said with like the racial thing, I think that's why we're getting hated on the most. But if we win it this year, which I believe we will, it's gonna validate the whole 7, 8 year buildup that we've had to this point. Winning back to back
Oh yeah.
championships, going through the heartbreak of conference finals appearances, going through the heartbreak of like injuries with like Jaylen Brown and Tatum and stuff like that. It's gonna make it all worth it. I
You
think
guys
that's why.
you don't have
That's
hateable guys on your team, by the way. Like Jason
I hate
Tatum
on
and
Tatum for no
Jalen Brown
reason.
are awesome. They're great human beings. They're great dudes. They're perfect franchise cornerstone players. What more can you ask for?
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird like the way Tatum gets hated on and like MVP discussions. They hate on him because he doesn't have a Finals MVP to his name. It's just I don't know how to explain it to you. If I'm being honest, it's weird to me.
all right, as we close things out, I'm going to give you my Clippers keys to winning tonight, and then you give me the keys for the Boston Celtics winning tonight, what it's going to take.
I
Because I do think the Clippers have a chance, but
I
it's
do
going to
too,
take.
but I don't think y'all gonna win.
All right, all right. But don't get me hating on Boston. No, I think the Clippers are going to have to loosen up that defense by hitting some threes and having a good shooting night, which they have had recently. The Clippers have been hot from the outside over the last 10, 12 games. I think they're top 5 in 3-point shooting there. But against Boston, it's just different. So they're going to have to hit some contested threes against you guys to loosen up that defense. And they just have to have a two-pronged attack. They got to get points in the paint with Ivica Zubats and punish you guys when Kristaps is in there and when he's out of the lineup, if he's only playing 20 minutes in the game tonight. And James Harden has to take care of the basketball and not get ripped. And other guys are going to have to help him in that area. He can't be the only one bringing up the basketball. Early on, Chris Dunn's got to bring it up. Other guys have to initiate the offense. If they're too predictable with just letting James Harden be the guy that is the playmaker out there, that is death against the Boston Celtics. We saw what you guys did against Luka Doncic in the NBA Finals, and James Harden's 35 now. Like, that's not going to work against you. And I think we're going to need some shooting luck to go our way, both with the Clippers making threes and you guys just being off. Like if you guys go 10 for 50 tonight from three, then the Clippers got a chance. But if you hit 20 of them, then the Clippers are in trouble. Like some of that is not even up to what the Clippers do. It's just fluky, lucky shooting tonight against Boston that may have some tired legs because you guys had to play heavy minutes last night against Minnesota. That's my hope, which doesn't say much because like some of that is outside of their control, but that's what you have to live with. Like you just have to hope against a Boston team that they're not hitting their threes because if they are, they're the best team in the league. They're the champs for the reason you're not going to beat them.
Yeah, I think the keys for us is being able to contain the Harden Zoo pick and roll, Zuno, as you guys say, containing that pick and roll. I think another thing we're gonna have to do is attack the weaker defenders and attack early because you guys are a great defensive team. And so if we don't attack you guys early, your defense is going to get very comfortable. And when the defense is comfortable, you guys want to be more physical, trying to get in our heads and be like pests defensively. Another thing is the rebounding. We've kind of struggled with rebounding a little bit. I think rebound is going to be. I think whoever wins the rebounding battle is going to win the game, in my opinion.
Ooh, I like that
Whoever wins the
because
rebounding battle.
you guys are 21st in rebounding percentage. You were
Yeah,
5th last year. You're 21st in rebounding percentage,
it's
and the
not.
Clippers are number 1 in defensive rebounding percentage.
Okay,
So
like I said, rebounding. Whoever rebounds the basketball at a higher level is going to win the game. And that's even with saying Tatum is averaging 8 rebounds a game. I think Brown's averaging 6 a game. Harden is arguably the best rebounding guard outside of Luka in the league. He's averaging 7 rebounds a game.
I like your point because I forgot to mention that earlier. Boston's been struggling with their rebounding so far. Of course, they
Yeah,
haven't had Kristaps Porzingis till tonight, so maybe that's the best thing he brings. He helps out with the rebounding where you guys have been struggling, and that could be the difference.
but he has to be effective in the minutes. Like we can't even though he is on the court and it is going to help us offensively and defensively with the minutes he's going to have, which is going to be very limited, especially him being on a minutes restriction. If he's going to play those minutes, it has to be the best 20 minutes. It can't be him putting up 6 shots, only having 6 points, and only having 3 rebounds. He should just, if that's the case, then he should just sit out, in my opinion. But if he's going to provide something like, just give me 10 points, like 5, 6 rebounds, and like show a little effort defensively, I think that's going to help us a lot more than him getting 6 points, 3 rebounds, and struggling. Because you can't struggle against this Clippers team, or they're gonna run you out the building, as you seen yesterday with the Sixers.
Some people just like to talk. Bastian Schweinsteiger is one of them. I probably should have put him in timeout earlier. He said we're the best rebounding team in the league. No, they're not. They're 3rd in rebounding percentage, the Clippers. But Boston's 21st. But I just want everybody to remember this guy because if the Clippers lose tonight in Boston, I'm just guessing he's going to be nowhere to be found because some
Nah,
people just like to talk here on the internet. But I
yeah.
feel like somebody who was very well spoken today, that would be JMI 1324. JD acquitting himself well in his first appearance here on a Clippers Talk Live.
Appreciate you.
Where can everybody find you, my friend? Because I think you did a very good job helping outline where Boston is
Um,
at and helping preview this ball game.
y'all can find me on Instagram. I have an Instagram, it's JMIPG13. I gotta change that, by the way. The PG-13, get that out of here.
Take
Cause
that poster down while you're at it.
this is a Christmas gift. I can't do that.
uh, okay, after Christmas, taken down.
I've had how long have I had this up? I've had this up for probably at least, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years.
Poster's looking washed, my friend. It's looking washed.
He said he's looking washed like his play on the court. I'm dead.
All right. So where can everybody find you one last time?
Yeah, JMI PG13. That's my Instagram. My ex is JD13. Y'all follow me there. Yeah, that's about it. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
You too, my friend, and I'll see you in the chat maybe later tonight after this one. Who knows?
If I'm not slumped being tired from the game, probably.
All right. How about this? If the Clippers win, I need you in this chat. If Boston wins, you can stay sleeping. You can stay sleeping like Steph Curry would say
I
against
got
you guys. I'll let that slide. JD, thanks so much for doing this here on Clippers Talk. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Everybody
you.
show him some love. JMI 1323 knows ball. Confirmed. If there were any
Wait, is that
allegations
Jack?
out there, it's over now. He has proven himself. He is a
That's Jack.
level-headed. What's that?
I see Jack in here. He on your podcast?
Jack has been on here. Yep. He was during
Oh
the
yeah,
summer tour.
me and him, we talked about this is a little side story. So Disney have brought back Doctor Doom. If you know what Doctor Doom is from
Yeah, he's going to be the
Marvel,
new Avengers movie.
and
Secret
Robert
Wars.
Downey Jr., who was Iron Man,
Yeah.
got paid a boatload of money to come back to play Doctor Doom. And me here, we was just talking. I did not know the reason why he loves Incredibles because of his name and the baby Jack, the little boy in the movie. It
Okay.
correlates. And then I had talked to him about my love for Lightning McQueen. Like I got a clock right here. Hold on. I still got a clock. I like the McQueen clock. And I actually got a new varsity jacket a couple days ago. So it's dope to see.
Pixar fan, Boston Celtics fan, JMI
Yeah.
1323, JD, killing it here on a Clippers Talk
Appreciate you.
Live. All right, be good, everybody. We'll talk to you. Pregame starts at 3:30. Right back here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers taking on the Celtics in Boston. I'm Adam Moslin. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk.